Hello, everyone. Welcome back to First Listen Media. Today I am here with my friend from Big Eleanor Records. Tell us what we got in store today.
Yup, you're listening to the one and only Danny No, Big Eleanor Records, Underground Takeover in full effect. Right now, you're talking with myself and Kyle Patrick Caffrey from Advocaat, and we're here connecting with my man Zach, First Listen Media, and we're just kind of giving you the what's up. We got a new album coming out, and just want to show some love to the people who deserve it.
Tell us more about this album.
Well, this album is it's our sophomore EP, I guess you could say. We started with the first EP last year. Turns out not a great time to start a band a few months before a pandemic. But the last album was more about kind of just growing up, getting a little bit older, being in your late 20s, still being like, kind of like a punk rock kid. And this album, I think, is a little slightly more mature in its themes. It's more about less about what I'm thinking and feeling and more about things that I'm seeing, like just my opinion and like things are going on in the world right now. So hopefully it has made a kind of a step in the right direction when it comes to like lyrical maturity. And yeah,
I picked up on that when I listened to it, and I was really drawn in. I loved it. You gave it a listen last night.
I was hoping. Obviously, I know that you listened to it.
Yeah.
I'm just.
All right, word. Yeah, you got the full file in its entirety and gave that a listen, right?
Yep, I loved it.
You're one of the first people to listen to it, so I'm not sure if it's something that you'd want to do right now, but I'm really interested to hear your full opinions on it.
Honestly, I'm the same way you are. I look at the world, I look at what's going on. So when I first heard all this, I'm like, holy shit, this guy and I are basically the same. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't want the titles to be divisive, but I didn't mean for one of the songs to be called Snowflake. That just kind of happened.
It fits.
It's actually, sorry, go ahead.
It fits.
Yeah, it's that song is actually named after Ted Cruz's dog. So it's not just calling someone a snowflake. It's about basically, if you want to get into it, that song is kind of about multiple things, but it was really brought on, the chorus was really brought on by Ted Cruz going to Cancun during that deathly snowstorm in Texas and leaving his dog Snowflake behind as well. So just like the rest of his constituents.
Damn. Tell me about Dark Pattern. Well, Patterns. That one was really good.
The song itself?
Yeah. I want to go through every song on this EP.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to. So I got a little bit out of place there. But yeah, Dark Patterns. The original idea came from, actually, I don't know if you're familiar with the podcast Reply All. It's a kind of like an old school podcast. They still have it, but it's not as good as it used to be. But there was a Reply All episode about TurboTax and basically some shady shit they were doing, telling people that their services were free. And basically the term dark pattern is a deceptive tactic used by corporations on the internet. For example, to simplify the situation, you would fill out your tax forms on TurboTax, and then at the very end they would tell you that the specific form that you filled out that they gave you actually isn't free, but you had to click on a certain button to get the free version. But the button to get the free version was red, and there was a green button to pay for it, and all the text obviously is very small. And just all these little things are set up in life against everyday working people just to fuck you as much as possible.
They try to show resistance being the easiest way to achieve something, where it's the TurboTax, just the green button, just a deceptive mind trick, basically.
Yeah, everyone's going to click on the green button, not the red one, because red buttons are always bad.
Yeah, so it's just these little deceptive mind tricks that add up, and then all of a sudden to do one thing like your taxes or something, there's 4 or 5 deceptive mind tricks to make money to do this, and that's just a super small scale. You take that as one example, but it equates to any situation that we got going on, basically.
And you go to that website, the TurboTax website, because you saw an ad that said it was free, and then by the time you take hours to fill out your taxes, however long, you find out it's not free. You're not going to start over again. You're not going to find a different website. You're just going to say, okay, to hell with it. I guess I'll pay for it. And like, I just did some research on the term dark patterns, and that's a thing like that all corporations use. Like, it's like mind games, deceptive mind games against
To
people.
just gain any little advantage they can, to gain anything they can over someone in any situation.
So that was like the main idea, and that's kind of like,
that idea translates to the full album. That's why the album is kind of named Dark Patterns after the song, because I feel like the whole album as a whole is just kind of these, either from being on the middle of these approaches or the outside looking in, just kind of a look at different negative behavioral approaches that people have taken on other people or on yourself. So I feel like Dark Patterns as a whole, just that blanket statement covers every song basically, whether personal or historic.
yep.
For sure. That's kind of why I like this album, whole EP, because you could see that. And I like I said, as an observer, I see that stuff every day of the damn week. And hearing that in this, I'm glad people get it enough to make something like this about it.
Oh, I'm glad that you listened to it and you could like feel that. So that's a good sign.
Getting it's one thing though, because there's a lot of people who may understand what we're talking about, but still fall
don't
victim
get
to
it.
these things.
It's like they understand, but they don't truly get it.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully we get it, even by just making art and making our say about it. Hopefully that helps us understand these things and to avoid these things as well.
And not just kind of like the lyrical content, but the actual kind of sound I was going for with that song was, I was listening to a lot of, what's his name? I always forget to do his name. The guy who sings, "Is she really going out with him?" There's a Joe Jackson.
Joe Jackson.
Joe Jackson. I don't know if you're familiar, but I was listening to like a couple of his albums, and his like most famous album, "Look Sharp." Like, I got a couple, like, just listening to that over and over again gave me a lot of like, because I don't really listen to anything else kind of like that, so it gave me a lot of ideas kind of for riffs and stuff. So it's a great album if anybody wants to check it out.
It's a good 80s pop driven, hook driven,
but like
produced, highly like well produced album that has a very, very good front half of songs for sure.
But definitely a little bit, it has a little bit of like a punk vibe as well to it. So very cool.
Dude, for sure. Let's talk about the next song, Ghost.
Ghost is a banger. Ghost is a fucking instant hit. Quote me on that.
Quote of the year, man.
I've had a couple people say that that's their favorite. The music on that one is just kind of very much influenced by like 50s and 60s rock music, but which is what was on a lot of the last EP, which is something that I'm constantly going back to for inspiration, and that's just like some of my favorite music. And no matter what I do, like I can't get away from kind of that influence, and also just like 70s and 80s punk rock influence.
50s and 60s vocal approaches is fucking amazing. Like just the doo-wops and the oohs and ahs that they be throwing, like it's a lost art form for real.
Yeah, there's a ooh-wah in that one, so that's how you know it's influenced by that time period. We were trying to think in the studio, like we wanted some vocalization in the chorus there. Like, what should it be? And then we're just like, ooh wah ooh. I was like, can we really do ooh wahs? Are we allowed to do that in 2021? Like ooh wah, like it worked out. As far as like lyrically, that kind of came from I bought a house and moved out of my apartment last year, and we were moving, and everything we were like halfway through the moving process. We were like sleeping in the new house, but there was still a bunch of stuff in the old apartment. And I would go in there like every couple days for something, and just looking around at like the things, you could see what we were doing like the last time we were there, if that makes sense. Like I had a cup. You can go down.
No, I feel like if I go down, it'll just make the fucking barking worse. Sorry, I didn't mean to like cut your train of thought because I like the
Well,
train of thought behind the song, but
I'll get right back into it if that's all right. That damn dog. No. You can kind of see what I was doing, like when we moved. Like I had a cup that was like sitting on the table that was still there. Might even had like a little bit of water at the bottom of it. I know that's gross, but like it just looked like kind of like ghosts of like what the hell we were doing a month and a half ago when we started moving. It was kind of like creepy, and my old apartment complex was very creepy in general already. So that the state the apartment was in gave me the creeps a little bit, and it was like dark. And then I started to like, that's like the main hook of that song just literally came to me in the parking lot of my apartment complex. And I even like, I have a recording of me singing like, it's a ghost, like with cars around me. Like because I just had to capture it in that moment. And that's kind of where that came from. It was very like, it might've been the most natural, easy writings, like of all the songs on the CP. It just kind of came to me.
That's how good songs usually are. They just come to you, and we want to capture it before you forget it.
Right. Yeah. Like it's crazy to hear, like, if you listen to like Howard Stern interviewing Paul McCartney or something, when he's just like, oh yeah, that song was a full 10 minutes. Like the best songs take like 14 minutes and the worst songs
take
months.
Yeah.
That's so true too.
Did you break into the old apartment?
No, I did not break into the old apartment. Is that a BNL reference?
Yeah.
No, okay.
Because it's like I didn't realize how close it was thematically to that song until you just broke it down.
Yeah,
like,
maybe that's subconscious.
This is literally that Bare Naked Ladies song.
Maybe I did that subconsciously. Me and Dan are huge Bare Naked Ladies fans, so maybe that was like, I don't know. Maybe I did that by accident. I don't know.
Oh, that's great.
I didn't break into it though. I didn't break in. I think I do ride my bike by it sometimes. When people finally moved in, I feel bad for them.
He does still just look in the window at the new people that live there now, but he doesn't break in or nothing like that.
I feel like someone's watching me. All right, my next question is: tell me about Segregationist Death Pact.
That's you.
That's me.
That's you. You're the one who came lyrically at that. So I'll let you break that down.
This comes with the fear of feeling like preachy during this interview. Like, I'm not trying to be like, this is the way I see the world and I want you to see it this way too. Fuck you. Even though like I do feel like that, but I don't want to seem like I feel like that.
Hey, it's all good, man.
The voice in his head sounds exactly like that too.
Yeah, every time I think something, it does that, like kind of wrestler voice. Fuck you. I'll have a nachos Bill Grande, motherfucker. Like all like that's my head.
That's his conscious. Yeah, that's like his internal voice.
That song got started before the insurrection of January 6th, but it definitely, like, if I was looking for any lyrics after January 6th, these fucking people made it really easy for me to finish the song. It's just like frustration of like, I don't want to say the T word, but these fucking people, these like QAnon people that don't even know what QAnon is, but they still believe half the shit. If you, do you have like is this a child friendly?
I don't care. I don't care in the slightest.
Okay. All right. Normal people you thought were normal are in a cult now, and you're expected to still treat them like you used to treat them before they were in the cult. And it's just very frustrating. And so like that's kind of the way I think about it, is like the segregationist death pact is these people, like, especially before vaccines, before there was anything, when this pandemic started, they're just like, open all the stores, open all the schools, fuck the masks. Like, we need to live our lives. We're all frustrated with the pandemic, obviously, and we all want it to end. If I didn't have to wear a mask ever again, I would be a very happy person. You can't just pretend that shit is normal. And like, we're in for a hell of a winter, most likely, because
the dark winter, or what's that shit that I keep hearing? People keep saying.
I haven't heard that.
Oh yeah, the one dude at work put me on, saying that like there's like a conspiracy that like there's like, because people's immune systems are so like crazy, that like there's just like some crazy like biological warfare that's been happening, and like they keep hearing like politicians be like dark winter, and that it's like a trigger word to like certain people, that like, oh, there's like a like an immune system conspiracy that's been happening to like build up to this winter, that's going to make this winter even more deadly than ever, like a winter in a while or some shit.
That sounds like some QAnon shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
that sounds like a good movie plot.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
this past 2 years of our lives would be a great movie plot, but it's like, it sucks balls in reality.
It does.
Like, like, so.
I mean, you want a boring movie though?
Not wrong.
We all have friends and family that like we have to deal with, but when you talk to them about anything other than like what they had for lunch, you're like, wow, this person's like racist as fuck and literally fucking crazy. Like, you think that Joe Biden is a puppet for like blood drinking like monkey people? Like, are you fucking serious? Like, this old boring Catholic guy, like, he doesn't know, like, he's the most boring person to ever be president, like, at least in a long time. Like, he's not drinking blood, dude. Like, just look at him. Like,
I mean, if he was, he'd be a lot healthier. He wouldn't be looking like he does now.
If he was drinking blood, he wouldn't have had to gotten hair plugs. Like, right?
I feel like you gotta eat hair to get hair, right? Like, it's not like, that's not how it works. You can just turn anything into anything.
It's just like frustration with like everything that's going on with like school board meetings. You can't even like talk about the fucking art and sports budget because you have people screaming and like sending threats and talking about like demonic rituals at school board meetings.
There seems to be at least one person in every conversation that's now popping up where it's like, you go to a school board meeting, you go to this workplace, you go to this store. There's at least one person now that keeps popping up that's like wild now, or like on some crazy train of thought.
And God forbid you tell someone that maybe you shouldn't listen to someone who used to host Fear Factor for like health protocols. Like, and then they'd say like, you're just a fucking know-it-all. I want to listen to the Fear Factor guy as my doctor. You're such an asshole. Oh, I'm an okay, fine. So like, all those people are part of the segregationist death pact, in my opinion. And like, the music from that one kind of came just from like, it's just old school rock and roll shit, kind of the riff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I love that. I can relate, because there are people who are mentally insane thinking about half the shit you just mentioned, and I'm like, see, that's why I have these.
Right,
exactly.
Yeah. I wear these all the time to block every one of those dipshits out.
Yeah, it's I can't like go to the grocery store without getting like frustrated just by this like, I don't know.
There's such a big divide in trains of thoughts and like mindsets now than I feel like there's been in a minute, and it's insane. Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
You don't intend to like make an album that only half the country could possibly like. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, if you're being honest about what you're thinking and like, and I think that tends to make good music.
Oh, it does.
Is when you're trying to be honest and you feel like you're being
you're speaking what you feel is right, correct.
What's the word I'm looking for? Like when you're being
transparent.
Yeah, when transparent, when you put yourself out there.
Yeah, being
and you say
being vulnerable.
Vulnerable, yes. If you make yourself vulnerable and you say some of the darkest shit that you're thinking, like, would Nirvana be a good band if like Kurt Cobain gave a shit about what his lyrics?
Yeah, felt a little reserved.
And if someone's listening to this and saying like, "Wow, this guy thinks he's Kurt Cobain," that's not what I'm saying. And I apologize.
But I am fucking Dave Grohl, motherfuckers.
I am. I'm at least Pat Schmear.
Pat Smear. Yeah, Pat Smear's a legend though.
Yes,
He's a legend.
yes.
Before he was even in Nirvana, he was a legend before Nirvana.
He was in what? He was in
the Germs.
Germs, yeah.
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 So all of that is what that song's about.
Hey, it's a great response, and it's so true. Like if you say everything from the heart, people are gonna know you're serious.
Right. And there's a lot of things in the last EP too where like I wouldn't even want to tell someone this in a one-to-one. I wouldn't want to admit this. I wouldn't even want to tell my wife this, but like for some reason I'm able to say it on this thing that's going to go on Spotify, which is kind of a weird, I don't know what mental thing that is, but
yeah, that is weird.
When you make music and you're able to be more free with it, you're able to hold back a lot less, so it all just comes out naturally.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's kind of why I actually really love that song, because like I heard that and like everything you just described, I heard that when I listened to that song, and I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah, like I started off with like the first line's like think of the children, because that's always like the Save the Children movement is like a secret hashtag on Instagram when people are talking about QAnon. Like Save the Children is a QAnon hashtag. It's just like not a lot of people know that.
What does it lead to or whatever? What is that hashtag like secretly like flip to, or is that just like a way that they try to like make themselves not look as wild? Or
like one of the main tenets of like the segregationist death pact is that there's this like massive problem with missing children and child abductions and child abuse among celebrities and Democrats. And so the Save the Children thing is like, if you see a hashtag that's supposed to be like, oh, let's find missing children, like, of course, who would be against that?
That's a positive thing, yeah. That's going to be a positive, yeah.
But it's like a well-known tactic among QAnon people to use that hashtag. And like,
it's one of them dark patterns.
I don't know if you're a baseball fan or a sports fan at all, but Bryce Harper's wife blocked me on Instagram.
He says this so proudly.
It's an accomplishment.
This is the best achievement that we have as a band so far. Bryce Harper's wife.
Did you say? Sorry, Zach. What'd you say?
That's an achievement in my book, man.
She posted a Save the Children post, and I'm like, I don't even know what I said. I think I just said sounds a little Q-ish, and so I can't look at Bryce Harper's wife's Instagram anymore, which is a real shame.
Freaking genius.
Bryce Harper, if you listen to this, can you please tell your wife to unblock me, please? Congratulations on the MVP, by the way.
We're trying to look at your wife's Instagram. When it's said like that, it's so fucking weird.
I want to see your wife's Instagram, Bryce.
Oh God. You know, like the Save the Children shit, and then you got these people going, "Oh, mask our kids." I'm like, okay, so you don't want to save the kids? Gotcha.
Right? Yeah, they want to. Yeah, that is the thing. Is like they don't give a shit about children. Like, if they did, they wouldn't be like dragging their kids to these meetings where they're threatening the principal's lives, and the kids are like bawling their eyes out
watching this happen.
They don't give two shits.
At grade, like third grade.
This whole generation's fucked up.
Yeah, like when I was like growing up, I thought like, oh, like all the really terrible people in the world are going to die out eventually, and everyone's going to be really nice to each other in 50 years. But it's like
3 came back for everyone that died.
Yeah, it's going to be worse, dude. Like,
yep.
I'm not gonna say it's been as bad as Jim Crow, but like it's not that different, really.
Yeah. I mean, some people got that mindset.
For sure. This younger generation's really screwed up.
There's no code. People don't like living by just like the code. And I'm not saying like I'm on no like street shit or on no crazy shit, but it's just like when you're masked behind the internet, when you don't have the immediate consequences as once used to have, people aren't living by like the man-to-man code anymore.
Yeah.
And this is a trickle-down effect.
I'm also saying like with the schools, how kids are destroying school property for a trend. It's fucking.
That's what I'm saying. There's no code. There's no consequence because they get more benefit from doing something like that than consequence.
Yep, and it's really disturbing. I'm over here like, we never did this shit when we were 13. What the hell?
Well, we did. We got our asses beat.
Yeah, exactly. And we learned.
I'm really glad I didn't have an iPhone when I was in like high school or like middle school. I don't know how I would have turned out.
And I don't know if I'm gonna like be like flowing my kids like this crazy electronic shit and be like, no, like you will get a Nokia flip phone in 10th grade. Like
they don't think we're invincible. Those things
I'm
were
hitting my
lame.
kid up with the BlackBerry Storm when they go to high school.
Yeah, when you're in
What the
high
fuck
school,
it
you
is.
get BlackBerry, you can play Brick Breaker, and you get limited minutes, so you can't be texting all day either.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was your age, I used to get an onion sandwich for a nickel.
Damn.
Damn.
Basically, what we're saying is our children are going to hate us.
I don't know.
I love this. This is great.
Is this like more off the wall than most of your interviews, or?
Sometimes, but honestly, that's why I enjoy most. I enjoy just having the conversation and getting to know who I'm working with. That's what makes it a lot more fun for me.
Yeah, nice.
By no means am I a professional. Hell no. I do these to help artists and to have fun with them.
I'm just glad that when I started talking about segregation step back, you weren't like, "Are you telling me Hillary Clinton doesn't drink blood, boy?" Like I didn't know exactly who I was working with. I assumed you weren't like that, but you can't assume anymore.
I wouldn't be surprised. Who knows what's in half of those deleted emails?
Maybe this is Rogan. I don't know.
See, this is why I love doing these. You never know who you're gonna meet, and they're so much fun to do.
Oh yeah, definitely. This has been a lot of fun so far. I'm just waiting for like another little square over here, or just like Alex Jones is now in the chat.
Oh man, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, if we work together again, I think you can definitely set that up. That'd be a great
You should.
Just like an open panel with us.
Open panel with us.
Just like a live interview chat.
Like how the guy like lost his family and his kids, and he's still doing the same thing.
I mean, you can't knock enthusiasm and passion. Right?
John Wilkes Booth was pretty enthusiastic and passionate about what he did too.
And
I mean, yeah, he
He
made
did.
Abe a very open-minded president.
Wow, have you been sitting on that one
Yeah,
for a
you've
while? Like
been
that was
waiting.
good.
I feel like you've been waiting for like 7
Oh,
years.
I've been waiting for the perfect moment to use that one. I was waiting on the perfect moment.
As soon as someone brings up John Wilkes Booth
I got
on this
it.
fucking show, I'm on.
I've been waiting 40 episodes.
Oh goodness! All right, before I lose my train of thought, let's talk about the song tonight.
Oh, tonight, yo. Before Kyle gets in, I just want to say this dude put on a vocal performance that I'm even proud of. That's all I gotta say, and then I'll let him explain what it's about. But dude, vocally went the fuck in. Also, shout out the Kaleidoscope.
Yeah, the people at Kaleidoscope, which is who we record with, they mix and master our EPs. Some of those dudes are also in a band. You can give it a shout out if you want.
Yeah, shout out you, me, everyone we know. Shout out Ben. Shout out John. Shout out Lancaster. Shout out the people in Lancaster who really care.
You, me, and everyone we know on Spotify now. Really great, kind of like, I don't know how you'd explain it.
Pop punky.
Pop punky, kind of like mid 2000s pop punk is what I do.
Yeah.
That vibe, kind of in a good way, like in a really good way. They turned like my original song idea into something that borderline unrecognizable. Like I just want to give them credit for like that. The original song, like my demo, was a lot softer, kind of like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it didn't have like the 80s kind of like synthy bass, like it didn't have the all that. Like I told them they could just kind of like run free with it, kind of like I wanted that to be the track that they were able to just like do whatever they wanted with it, and that's what they sent back, and I'm very happy with it. I feel a little bit like a fraud about it, but it sounds great. And like
it was a group effort.
If you want to talk about like what the lyrics are about, the original idea for the song, my wife, shout out Rebecca.
My wife.
This guy's married now too, so
our wife. Shout out Becca, my wife too.
That might have been the weirdest thing yet. Shout out Grace,
Kyle's wife.
my wife. I like lost my train of thought now. So she was like during like this is really annoying in the way that like I hate talking about the pandemic, but like half of this EP is about the fucking pandemic and like the changes in our lives because of the pandemic. So I keep going back to something I don't want to talk about, but like I made the song, like it's my fault. Like, you know, like a lot of people, like I got laid off of the job that I had before the pandemic. My wife's position changed. She was like, she had to do something a little different. Thankfully, she didn't lose her job. But her new position at the time was we had to get up at like 3:30 in the morning to be where she needed to be by like 5 or 6 or whatever time she had to be there. So we were getting up really early for like a year, 3:30, 3:40 every morning. And one morning at like 1 a.m., the way our house is, my like studio in my attic is like the 3rd floor. The door's kind of near our bedroom door. And she made me get up because I left the light on in the attic and she could see it coming through the door frame. And that was like keeping her up. So like the original line, like there's a light that's been keeping you up, is literally not poetic or artistic at all. Like,
It's like, yeah, you left the light on in the other room.
so like, yeah, literally.
It's like,
So-
yo, turn the lights off when you leave the room.
But I like had to walk up to the attic, turn the light out, walk back down. And I got in bed, and for some reason, like, you know, when you talk about things that like you wouldn't want to talk about in everyday life, but you're willing to sing about, like, I don't know about you, but I tend to think a lot of things in bed, like, you know, when you
Kind
kind
of
of
just like, because you got no distraction.
some of your
Yeah.
best and worst thoughts are, you know, in the middle of the night.
Worst thoughts. Definitely your worst
Definitely
thoughts.
some bad
yeah.
thoughts. Got the bad thoughts tonight. That sounds like next album title, The Bad Thoughts Tonight. But I was just thinking like about losing, you know, your job, the pandemic, like, am I doing enough as a man? Like, am I a piece of shit? Like, everything you can think of, like running the gamut of like anxious, depressed, like doubtful
Yeah.
thoughts. And like the song started out as like literally there's a light that I had to turn off because my wife can't sleep, but like am I also, I fucked up by leaving the light on, but am I fucking up in other ways?
Yeah, it's just a chain event. The light was left on because of
Yeah.
this, because of this. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So like
That's crazy. Dude, that's crazy.
that's kind of where I came from. And I'm not saying that I actually believe those things, but in the middle of the night, sometimes you can convince yourself
The worst.
that you're a real
That you're
piece of
yeah.
shit. I don't know.
That's
I mean,
crazy. Yeah, you never really broke that down like that to me too. That's crazy.
So like that's what the lyrics are about for the most part. And like yeah. That's more or less it. And like she left for work at like 4:30 or 5 or whatever the hell. I forget exactly what time. And it's still dark for like 2 or 3 hours at that point. And I rushed up to like my home studio because I had that like there's a path that's been keeping me up. Like I had that in my head. I was like, I gotta figure out what that is. If there's chords behind it, like I need to try to get some of that down immediately, because if I don't, I'm never gonna, like, you lose things if you don't kind of get them down. Like for Ghost, like when I grabbed my phone and quick like sang the Ghost thing, because if I didn't do it then it wouldn't exist. So
I feel
Keep
that.
that wild. I love that shit. That's
Same.
awesome.
I mean,
Same.
when you're like alone thinking and you're like just laying down, a lot of shit comes to your head. Trust me, I know how that feels.
right. And not everyone who has like thoughts like that necessarily needs to be diagnosed as, you know, clinically depressed, and they don't need medication. Maybe you do. I don't know. It's not for me to say. I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not a health expert.
Music is
But-
my meds.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like sometimes just getting it out there, and like maybe if someone hears it, you know, maybe even just for 5 minutes, if it makes them feel a little bit better, like that can't be a bad thing.
Mhm.
So that's kind of why I was willing to be so like
So vulnerable.
vulnerable. Yeah, I can't remember that word today.
Yeah, vulnerable is being vulnerable, and this is to any situation. Being vulnerable is never a negative thing. Being vulnerable leads to some of the best friendships, some of the best conversations I've ever had. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. It is not weird. It is not unmasculine. It is not negative in any least bit. Show your feelings. There's nothing wrong with that. Be open.
I can relate to that entirely because that's part of actually how I met you. So that works out really well. Because you know how I got into this. People broke me down. I was vulnerable as hell. Started this up during my recovery, and then I met everyone slowly, and now we're all here.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. We're just all in it together now.
Do you mind explaining that? Because I don't know that story. If you want to cut it out,
Yeah, if you feel like sharing.
Yeah, well,
you don't have to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind. I'm totally open to it. Basically, I had this friend group and this woman who was in it. Took care of her, wanted to give her a better life, etc. We started dating. She proposed, then she cheated on me, tried making me kill myself, and a bunch of other fucked up shit. Music got me from ending my life, made me throw the knife away. And then I started this up because I wanted to give back to music so badly for what it did for me. Then around episode 15, I met a label in PA known as DI Records. And then after that, I met with, well, Danny No from Big Eleanor, and things just fell from there. Well, came together from there. Everything fell into place, and here we are.
That's cool shit. Well, like, not the whole story's cool shit.
Thank you for sharing.
Of
Yeah,
course.
thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing your story.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Honestly, I don't regret it one bit, because even though I suffered like hell, this beautiful thing came out of it. So
it's your journey.
I'm happy. I regret nothing. Journey. Hey, I regret nothing.
I like that you say that with your chest. That's what it's about, yo.
I regret nothing.
Yes. But yeah, like that pain got me to this beautiful outcome.
Right.
Hell, I'm on this. What? This will be episode 87. Like, and it hasn't even been a whole year yet. Like, this project started in January 19th of this year.
That's wild.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Working. I'm glad that we got to make the connection, because now we're just gonna keep building until one of us stops, and I ain't going nowhere.
Neither am I. I ain't stopping this till I'm not stopping this till I'm 6 feet under.
Fuck yeah. Then my legacy still goes on.
Exactly.
Yep.
The next song I want to know about, which is the last one, is Caffeine.
I'll let you take it, because this, I want to say, Kyle has written some fucking amazing songs. This one is just like top notch.
Dan's definitely like my hype man for sure. Like, he's my Flavor Flav in a way.
This dude did he make on some Chuck D shit over here talking about Segregation Death Pack and shit. So yeah.
Well, the original title was "Fuck the Police," but like I think there's already a song called that.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard it or
not, but that was just like the first EP was very much. I'm not sure if you heard that or not. I think you may have, but it's very pop punk. Like, it's not that eclectic. Like, it sounds like it could be like
an old Blink-182 album or something.
Yeah, or something like that, which is cool. Like, I like that shit, but like I feel like that kind of music doesn't have a huge following anymore. I know people say like pop punk's making like a comeback.
I don't want to be in the pop punk world right now. It's ran by a bunch of fucking bozos.
Yeah, I don't know if you support this message, but like something that me and Dan like to say whenever we get the chance is fuck MGK.
And then we're going to keep it moving.
We're going to keep it moving. Yeah, I don't want to go into that.
Yeah, keep it. Yeah.
You heard it here, folks, and I support this message.
But like, it's a fairly, even with like the resurgence or whatever, like it's still a fairly limited audience. And like, I tend to go towards the punk rock side of music whenever I pick up a guitar. But like, I listen to a lot of different things, like most people do. I love pop music. I like, like a little bit of harder stuff. I like 80s and 90s and 70s and 60s country music. Like, so I was kind of exploring my more like pop side, in not like an NSYNC kind of way, but more of like in a Smithsy, Depeche Mode-y kind of 80s alternative kind of way. And that first riff, like in the beginning of that song, could definitely be considered like a rip off of 40,000 Cure songs. Like,
And they do have 40,000 songs.
and they do, and all but like 40 of them are terrible. I
But
don't
those
know.
40 are bangers.
Those 40 are some of the greatest songs of all time. But I don't know if you have gone deep into the Cure's bag of tricks. But
Shout out Robert Smith, right?
shout out to Robert Smith,
Yeah.
hardcore, but he's
Yeah.
got some stinkers in his discography for sure. But I was just kind of had that mindset, like, my wife and I both love that kind of music. Like, shout out to Erasure. I don't know if you're familiar. Yaz, Depeche Mode, especially early Depeche Mode. You know, Joy Division.
I fuck with Joy Division.
All of that, like, is some of the best shit. I was listening to Joy Division and Erasure this morning on my way here. Like, so that was the mindset I was in when making the music for that song, if you will. So, but then the lyrics are more of just like, you know, vulnerable stream of conscious. Like, it's not that deep. Like, it is, but stream of conscious thinking at the time. And
I think it just kind of lyrically
speaks for itself.
reflects still more on the to wrap around with the dark patterns themes that's been going throughout. Seems like one of the most, from the outside looking in, about these repetitions that we were talking about, these like historic and repetitions of like patterns that we keep talking about. It's like the first verse and the second is just like this. It basically just like 3 cups a day and cigarettes is what this, and then that's what our parents did, and you know what I mean? It's just like a whole cycle of just like, this is still just pounding home that this is just like cycles. Everything just runs in cycles, and unfortunately some of them are negative.
We kind of started the album in the same way that we ended it, in that there's some similar themes in those 2 songs where, like, you know, our parents bought their first home and it was $12,000.
Yeah.
Like, and like, it's just fucking tough. It's when I was a kid, yeah, it's that kind of like thought of like, shit's fucking hard, dude.
And it is tough. I will say, and I'll congratulate you, Kyle, because it is tough to talk about that kind of stuff, but not sound like the old man just like yelling at a cloud.
Right.
And you did a good job not like being like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, get off my lawn, like type of shit.
Yeah.
But you still covered topics that could borderline in it. So you did a good job not sounding like a fucking preachy old man, which was cool because you're not an old man. And I don't think you're preachy.
I'm sounding more preachy and old manish as we go. The next album is probably just going to be like
sermons.
How you used to be able to buy a cow tail for 3 cents or something stupid like that.
Yeah. Just
write that down. Write that down.
So what was that?
Write that down, man.
It's like the cow tails and bazooka gum.
I got it.
So then you got those real old people. Back in my day, I had to walk through an avalanche to get to school.
It was uphill both ways with no shoes on.
Oh, I love this.
Back in my day, African Americans were 2/3 of a person. So, yeah.
That's some of the ways of thinking that.
True story. That's America.
That's some of the ways of thinking that still exists. That's what I'm saying. Dark patterns. This is all about these cycles either being existing in the middle, like you saying ghosts, and tonight has him existing in the exact center of these patterns, like exploring his own behavioral patterns, or just from the outside looking in, like Segregation Death Pack. So it's just basically a big exploration of these dark patterns, just, you know, dark tendencies that we've noticed.
Dude, I love that too. Like, I love this entire EP from start to finish. I absolutely just fell in love with it.
Thank you, appreciate it. Kyle worked the fuck out on it.
Everyone did. I want to shout out a couple of people, if that's okay.
Go for it.
Obviously, Danny here is a longtime collaborator. We've been making music together since like 2006.
We've been friends since then. I consider this guy family. This guy's my brother.
Some of the music we made has been really fucking terrible, but it doesn't matter. It was still being made. This is our 50th anniversary of making music together, Dan.
15th
anniversary.
Yeah, I guess this is a relationship of music.
I gotta get a cake for that.
Yeah, I was like starting a band, and me and this other kid, I'm not gonna say what names, were like, I think I might know someone who plays the drums. Like maybe we like walked to this house, which is funny because this is like he said, it's his parents' house.
And I maybe played the drums then. You know what I mean? Like I didn't.
We were barely friends. We both knew. Shout out Tim Carney. That's kind of how.
Oh yeah.
Like he's good friends with this kid Tim, and I was friends with Tim too. But anyway, like I don't even know how to start talking about this. Oh yeah, shout outs. Shout out Tim Carney.
He gets the first one.
Shout out Becca and Grace. A lot of what we do is because they put up with a lot of this stupid shit that it takes to make this kind of music and to be involved in music. It's not always easy. So shout out to them. Shout out to Ben and John at the Kaleidoscope, obviously. Shout out to Yumi and everyone we know. Joe, like the dude.
Shout out everyone named Joe.
All Joes, dude.
Everyone named Joe.
Shout out to Joe Ward. Shout out to Joey Ward.
Yeah, and shout out to the next Joe Ward that comes down the line.
Shout out to Kate Real, a friend of mine who helped with the photography.
Shout out Allison.
Shout out Allison.
Artwork.
Allison Balch.
Good friend, holding down on artwork always. She's always on standby.
Find her on Twitter and Instagram, AllisonBalch.com.
Talk to her. She's a really good listener.
She does great work. And Kate Real is Kate.Yearsley, I think, on Instagram. She's a great photographer.
She did our photography.
I'm probably missing somebody. Shout out to Colin, who makes music videos for us sometimes.
Yep.
Shout out to this show. Shout out to Zach.
Shout out to every listener. Shout out mom. Shout out dad. Shout out Grace. Shout out future self.
Yup. Oh, and yeah, shout out to my cat Tate.
Cats are fucking adorable. I have two myself.
What are their names?
Luna and Midnight. Little shits at night though.
Like the same.
You have like a definite theme there.
Yeah. Well, it's because their fur patterns are more like nighttime colors, so I just went with it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Plus, they stay up all night, so.
This dude has the loudest, most mouthy fucking cat, yo. Every time I'm on the phone with this guy, the cat is going bananas, yo. Like crazy, interrupting me and shit.
He's a solid piece of shit, but
that's why I record down here, because mine are just as bad. Like, if I was recording upstairs, we would hear a meow every 2 seconds.
I'm sure the dog sounds are going to make it into this one, but that's okay.
Luckily, they were not that bad.
It's fine. Don't worry.
And yeah, it wasn't that loud, so it would be good.
Animals exist, turns out.
Animals are real. Animorphs are real.
Birds are not. You've heard it here.
I've heard that all
over. The frog's gay.
Turn the freaking frog's gay. Fucking Alex Jones. Oh man, that dude's a trip.
No comment right now,
dude. Everyone remixed the hell out of him on YouTube.
Yeah, any kind of YouTube poop starring Alex Jones is great.
Oh, dude, I couldn't agree more.
Do you watch the show? This is kind of random. Do you watch? Oh my god, I think you should leave at all. I think you should leave.
I don't think I've heard of that yet.
Well, we can edit this out, but when you get a chance, watch. I think you should leave because it doesn't matter now that you haven't seen it. But just saying, just watch it.
Don't edit that out. Everyone in the world needs to know that show.
Oh, I wasn't editing it out anyway. That's too good to edit out.
But can you edit out me saying it? You can edit it out at least.
Don't edit anything out again.
The only thing I'm going to edit out was where we had that freeze slip up in the beginning, and that's about it. Because that's all I usually take out anyway.
That's great. We'll do it live.
I'm loving it.
We'll do it live.
Shout out, one more shout out to whoever this is, like this thing.
Whatever soul is trapped in this doll, shout out.
Look, it's Annabelle 2.0.
Yeah, shout out to you.
Oh, that's why I actually hate my state, because the doll is stored in my state, so I'm like, fuck.
What is the name of it? Is it the Warrens? Where are they from?
Yeah, that's where they're all. That's where they keep that little fucking doll.
Is that where they were from? The Warrens?
Yeah. That's where they're from, and that's where that doll is kept. And I'm like, lovely.
She like came to my college like to talk, and like I don't know why I didn't go. Not Annabelle.
Yeah, the doll.
Whatever her name is. I can't remember her name right now. The woman,
One of the household members, yeah,
Lorraine, was it Lorraine Moore or something like that?
I
Or-
believe.
I didn't go. Like I was just like drinking something stupid. Like I should have went.
What? So she was just like talking about her experience with his dog.
Yeah, like that sounds
Yeah,
like
you
something.
didn't go.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would definitely be interested in.
When
I
I
was
was a
just
kid, it stared into my soul.
You know she got some crazy shit. Like
I was probably just drinking like fucking hams.
I'd rather
or
drink this
something.
$2 ham.
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing, but
Word, Joe.
this has been fun though.
This has been a blast. And
Definitely
before I
appreciate
wrap it up, do you have any questions for me?
I mean, I got no questions for you right now. I got your direct contact, so we can just keep our ongoing conversation
Yeah.
going. If you feel like you got to show anyone love specifically this morning, please take the time to do so right now, too. That's all I have to say.
Of course.
Just never forget to show love to those who deserve it.
But yeah, I love that question because no one ever expects it. Like the interviewer becoming the interviewee, like no one ever expects that.
Yeah.
So I love throwing that into my roster of questions.
Time for part 2 of the interview. You're interviewing me now.
Exactly. And people were like, wait, what? It's hysterical. Some people are like, didn't see that coming. I'm like, yeah, no one usually does.
My only question is just, it's not really a question, it's a statement. Brush your teeth. Not saying you don't or do, but to all the listeners out there, make sure you brush your teeth.
Oh, it's early as shit. I did that before I hopped in here.
I've got 2 brushes in already, so
Noise.
floss. Don't you hate dentists how they like come out your teeth with a pickaxe and then you bleed and they're like, this is because you don't floss.
Yeah, this is because you fuck up.
No,
Yeah,
you're
it's not
literally
because
a-
it's not because I totally just fucking nailed down with a little
You just
pickaxe.
fucking
No,
punched
fuck
him in
you.
the
It's your fault.
You just crucified my gums to the cross. That's why I'm bleeding. It's not because I don't floss.
They use everything from the cross of the damn nails.
But yeah, so thank you so much. This has been a really positive experience, and hopefully I get to do it again sometime.
Of course.
Definitely,
Hey,
appre-
you're
definitely
always
appreciate
welcome
you
back here.
spending your Wednesday morning with us, Joe. You know how it is.
Of course.
Anytime I got something coming up, I'm hitting you up. Anytime he got something coming up, we're hitting you up.
Works
You know,
for
I told
me.
you before, I came here the first time to kick the doors open and bring everyone I know with me. So same thing with him. He's coming, he's here to stay.
And I will welcome everyone with open arms.
Appreciate it.
I feel that.
Definitely appreciate it.
Thank you guys for being here. This has been another episode of First Listen Media. Listen to their stuff coming out 22nd, I believe.
12, 22, 21.
Get your
We will-
boosters.
Yep, I already did. We will, their link, I'm pretty sure will be in their bio, and we will have a link on our description leading to Spotify. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Big Eleanor Records.